and therefore very superficial. First of all, I forgot to say, and it's important, I'm the International Secretary of the Campaign Against Climate Change, but that's a very broad organization indeed. And what I'm giving you is not the Campaign Against Climate Change line, it's the full-throated revolutionary line. And that's made only one of many strands in the campaign. Secondly, I think much will have changed by next year, much. Because I'll tell you the truth, we've had meetings on climate change in Marxism for years, and until this year, in those meetings, we made general propaganda arguments, and we called for attending an annual demonstration. Now, we're talking about how to actually fight in the working class concretely. And it's changed because all of our lives are changing because history has speeded up because of the economic crisis. Okay, very quickly, the oil in Burundi. It's a difficult one because in a desperately poor country with oil, same thing in Ghana, nobody's going to say we don't have the oil because it's bad for the climate. Not going to happen. I think what you have to say is something else. Look to the worst possible example of resource use of oil and gas in the whole world, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. They took an enormous national resource in North Sea oil and they bled it dry for profit in 20 years and it was gone. And we will need hydrocarbons for making plastics, for making fertilizers. We will need them in small bits for hundreds of years. So instead of your ruling class taking that money, a tiny share off what Shell or BP takes and takes away, say that should be the people's oil and we should use it bit by bit. And meanwhile, look what's happening to the farmers. And the oil money should go so that the farmers can begin to build solar power. Well, I mean, that's how you have to do the argument, I think. It's easier for me to say it than for you to do it. I do know that. Okay. The comment from people on the planet who said maybe NGOs were unpopular here and so on. God knows what we've done to you, and I'm really, really sorry. And no, it's fantastic that you're here. It's fantastic that you're here because we've got some stuff to do. We've got some stuff that we've got to do in the SWP and the Campaign Against Climate Change and People and Planet and the Green Party and every Islamic student organization, every Catholic society, in every university and so on. I want you to go away from here to do some stuff. What we've got is, because in the run-up between now and Copenhagen, there will be an enormous debate. Demonstrations on their own don't change the world. But I'll tell you, if we have big demonstrations in many cities in the world, followed by an enormous demonstration in Copenhagen, that will show that the people of the world care. And what do people always say? Everybody you know says, we can't do it, and I would do something about the environment, Jonathan, I would do something about the climate, but nobody else cares, so I won't do anything. Right? That's what everybody says. If you put the people on the streets in large enough numbers, people begin to think, no, there is a force. And that encourages them to go back home and organize. And the process of organizing brings you together. There's three things you can do between now and December. You need to do at least one, get it going where you are. One is in the universities, like I said, right, start People and Planet, Green Party, Socialist Workers' Party, Campaign Against Climate Change, Friends of the Earth, Greenpeace, and everybody else you can get in for a big mobilizing meeting. And I think also do what they do in America when they have a war. Go for a teaching. Go to the teachers who know something about it and say, get the management to cancel classes for a day and have classes on nothing but Copenhagen and climate change. I think you can do it in universities. Go to the university union and so on. I think it's possible. But also book coaches to come to the demonstration. We do that at the universities. We do it in the communities. Same job. Every organization you can possibly get, the biggest meeting you can get. Go back now and get together that committee and body of people in your area. And in many areas, these bodies are already forming, and you will be left out if you don't go back and do it now. to have a big demonstration in a big meeting in October and bring people down to the demonstration. And it's going to be a big demonstration. It is backed by all the NGOs. This is going to be quite a serious demonstration in London. And the third thing is, once we get the union report out, if you're a trade unionist, have meetings through unions, organize them through the local trades council and the local PCS branch, the CWU branch, the R&D branch. Go to those people. Maybe those will be smaller, but those will involve whole bunches of activists, and after them a whole labor movement. We can't get any other way. And so, for God's sake, before you get out of the room, leave your name on these little pieces of paper we have here, so we have a list so we can get to you. Leave your name and your phone number and your email, not just your email, because when we really want you to do something, we're going to phone you. I'll tell you, if there's action down at the Vestas turbine plant, we're phoning all of you. We're not sending you emails so you can delete. You know what I mean? And where you live. We need to know where you live. So that we can get back to it. Okay. Now the central political thing here. Do we just follow the green organizations? No, we don't. We do everything in partnership with people. But as socialists, we have a different understanding of why wars happen. We have a different what to do about them. We have a different understanding of why unemployment happens and what to do about it. We have a different understanding of why climate change is happening and what needs to be done about it. And we're not embarrassed or ashamed about that. That is the hope. Because it's not that they want a just transition so that workers shouldn't be left out. We want a just transition because if we don't get a just transition that is a massive expansion in jobs, we technically won't solve this problem and the waters will rise. Without a just transition, there is no transition. But the last thing is, the person said, this is an urgent problem. Do we wait for the revolution? No. I mean, I'm always bewildered, because very often when people say that to you, the next thing they say is, this is a desperately urgent problem, so we have to wait for Gordon Brown. If you know what I mean? If this is a desperately urgent problem, let's do something desperately urgent. You know what I mean? I don't think drop everything else. Because we need to change the world, and we cannot dictate where that change will come from, and whose hearts it will come from, and what movement it will start from. It may be anti-war movements, it may be industrial movements, it may be movements against racism. Where I grew up in the United States, it was a movement against racism by people we had never thought would move. You know what I mean? It can be anywhere. Wherever it starts, it gives people the confidence to fight it. Our overwhelming problem in stopping global warming is the idea that people can't change the world. We can't change the government. Every fight that happens, we support it. Every fight that happens makes the fight over climate easier. But the last point about the revolution, I'm not saying wait for the revolution. We're not going to do a plan that says we have to have a revolution before anything changes. We're going to do a plan that says this is what we have to do now. But I should also say that maybe it will take a revolution to do this. I don't know, Governor. I don't know the state. I really don't know. I think so, but this is a big one. This is on the scale of fighting for the right to vote. This is on the scale of the great movements that established trade unions. This is on the scale of the movements that got rid of colonialism. This is maybe on the scale of the French Revolution. This movement is on the scale of the movement to build the welfare state. Maybe we can do it with a revolution. Maybe we can't. But if we had had a revolution, if we had a fair society, if we had a decent society, if we had a society where people could control the products of their labor, we would not have any problem about this at all. We would have solved it in 1992. And this is true of every problem that has been discussed in Marxism. It is true of the problems that torment us in our daily lives. So I'm not saying wait for the revolution. I'm saying start fighting now for the climate. But I'm also saying we need a revolution.